If you think shopping at Lowe's is just a matter of looking at the price tag and putting items in your cart, you're likely paying more than you need to, especially if you're over 50. Lowe's isn't the bad guy, but like any other large store, they have their own language on price tags, promotions, and accompanying services. The problem is, not everyone is taught how to read that language, and the elderly are often the most disadvantaged group because they trust familiarity too much. This video isn't meant to teach you how to save every penny, but rather to help you avoid common mistakes that make money leave your wallet faster than you think. We will point out small details that can add hundreds, even thousands of dollars to your bill. And more importantly, it helps you walk into Lowe's with the confidence of someone who knows exactly what they're doing. You've spent your whole life accumulating. Don't let a few small lines of text or a vague discount label take away the money you deserve to keep. Let's get started. Have you ever walked into Lowe's, seen a yellow tag with the word clearance in big letters, and then had a very familiar thought pop into your head? Oh, it's clearance time. Is now the cheapest time to buy? If the answer is yes, then you are not alone. And this is also where many older people get ripped off without even knowing it. The reality is that Lowe's has two different types of yellow cards, but they don't clearly explain this to you. The first type is very eye-catching. The tag has both the word clearance and the line new lower price. It sounds like a great deal, but the truth is that this price is only temporary, usually lasting about 2 months. To put it simply, it's like a trial discount to see if customers will buy. Now, let's pay attention to a small detail that many people overlook. If the shelves are still full, it means the product hasn't reached the point where it needs to be sold off. In that case, prices could definitely continue to fall, especially with familiar holidays like Memorial Day, the 4th of July, and the end-of-year holiday season approaching. For patient buyers, this difference can feel like going to the market too early, only to find out when you get home that there are bunches of cheaper options being sold outside. Conversely, the second type of yellow card simply states the word clearance. No embellishments, no frills. This is when Lowe's is being honest with you. Prices have bottomed out. If there were few items left at that time, you should buy them, because there's a high chance they'll be gone for good. But the problem is that many customers, especially the elderly, see the word clearance and buy it right away for peace of mind, without paying attention to what kind it is. It's like getting up from the dinner table right before dessert is served. Not wrong, but a little disappointing. Try to remember, how many times have you bought something at Lowe's, only to return a few weeks later and find it even cheaper? Was the feeling then not exactly anger, but rather, if only I had known sooner? Right now, I'll continue talking about another trap that's just as familiar. Sounds very pleasing to the ear, but for many elderly people, it's a wallet-draining bill. Oh, if you find this kind of sharing helpful, don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel, not to support yourself, but so you don't miss out next time on things you shouldn't have to pay for. There's a phrase that Lowe's uses very cleverly, and it immediately puts you at ease. Free shipping, especially for the elderly. Seeing the word free automatically makes them think, well, I can save on delivery, I won't be tired, and I won't have to carry it back. But the problem lies here. That free isn't always truly free. In theory, Lowe's says orders over $299 will be delivered for free. It sounds very pleasing to the ear. But there's one condition that almost no one stands in the middle of the store to read carefully. Your delivery address must be within a radius of about 75 miles from the Lowe's store. Just a little further, and that word free starts to lose its effect. This is especially likely to happen to older customers, as they often buy large items, washing machines, refrigerators, ovens, dishwashers. When I got to the store, I saw the price was good and delivery was free, so I nodded. But when it came time to pay or confirm the delivery address, the invoice suddenly jumped up by a few $100s for shipping. And by then, many people just sighed and paid it to get it over with. What's noteworthy is that older people often have little habit of comparing each small fee. Seeing the total amount is already large, sometimes adding a few $100 more just makes you think, oh well, let's just buy it and get it over with. But that few $100, if kept, could be enough money for groceries for a whole month or to pay another important bill. The next time you see free shipping at Lowe's, ask yourself a very simple question. How far is my house from the store? Just that one question could help you avoid an unnecessary pickpocketing. Right now, I'm going to talk about something that's also very familiar. And that's how many people buy items outright that, in reality, are perfectly fine to just rent. And the difference in price is not small at all. There's a habit that many of us, especially older people, still have from way back. If we need something, we buy it for sure. We buy it and keep it in case we need it later. It sounds reasonable, but when you walk into Lowe's, that very thought leads many people to waste their money. The truth is, Lowe's does have a tool rental service, but they don't put up a huge sign to remind you every time you're about to open your wallet. A drill, saw, pressure washer, etc., if bought new, can cost from a few hundred to even $1,000. Meanwhile, renting costs only about $15 to $60 a day. To make it easier to understand, it's like buying something for one-time use, similar to buying an entire bus just to go home for a single trip. The elderly often find themselves in a very familiar situation, fixing the fence, renovating the small bathroom, cutting some wood for the weekend project. Are you done using it? The tools are in the garage, taking up space, covered in dust over time, and sometimes you even worry if you'll still be strong enough to carry them out. But the money was paid in full, right from the start. Not to mention, buying a piece of machinery isn't just the purchase price, it's also storage fees, repair costs if it breaks, and the effort of worrying every time you clean, while renting, using, and returning is the end of the matter. My mind feels completely clear. Many people say, buy it and keep it. You never know when you might need it next year. But think about it. How many items have you bought at Lowe's in the past 12 months that you've only used once? How much is one time worth? This warning is not to say never buy. There are some items you should buy if you use them frequently, but if you only use it once or twice a year, buying it is no longer economical. Buying it then is like lending the store money long term. Later, I'll tell you about something even more painful for your wallet. Many elderly people automatically pay the full price, even though they could have gotten an additional discount of over 10% just by asking. Oh, if you find these kinds of shares to be accurate based on your own experiences, subscribe to the channel to keep following along, not to support me, but so you don't accidentally buy things you don't need next time. There's a spot in Lowe's that a lot of older people pass by every time they shop. See it, and then ignore. It's not because it's secret, but because its name automatically makes many people think, this isn't for me. That's the Pro Desk. Many older people think simply like this. I'm not a contractor, I don't work in construction, what's the point of going there? But the truth is, the Pro Desk doesn't ask what you do for a living, they only care about one thing, how much money you're about to spend. If your estimated bill is $1,500 or more, which is easily reached when you're renovating your home, replacing kitchen cabinets, or remodeling your bathroom, you have the right to ask for a discount. No connections needed, no special cards required. Just bring your shopping list there before you pay, and ask a very simple question. Many people don't ask, not because they don't need money, but because they're embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to stand at the pro counter. I don't want to bother anyone, and I don't want to feel like I'm begging. But what's the reality? The Pro Desk can give you a 10 to 30% discount on your total order. To put it in everyday terms for easier understanding, if you spend $2,000, then 10% is $200 and 30% is $600. Enough to pay for electricity, water, or even several weeks of groceries. What's more, the good thing is that this quote is valid for up to 30 days. That means you can ask beforehand, hold that price, and then go home to think about it further. No pressure, no need to decide on the spot. While many older people are afraid of buying the wrong thing or making hasty decisions, this is a very valuable advantage. The funny thing is, the same shopping cart, the same store. The person who asks pays less. The person who doesn't ask pays the full price. Lowe's doesn't hide this, but they also don't actively remind you. Think about it. In all the previous times you've renovated your home, have you ever wondered, if I had asked one more question back then, how much would I have saved? Or maybe you've stood in front of the pro desk and thought to yourself, okay, this isn't my place. Right now, I'm going to talk about something even more familiar. There are services you're paying for regularly. While Lowe's has been doing them for free for a long time, and a lot of older people still don't know that. There's something that sounds very small at first, but when it accumulates over the years, it eats up a significant amount of money from the elderly, often without them even noticing. That is, paying for services that Lowe's has been providing for free for a long time. A lot of people only know one familiar thing. If you buy wood, Lowe's will cut it for you. But in reality, the list of free cuts is much longer. They can cut shelves, curtains, carpets, pipes, chains, and even electrical wires, things that, if you tried to do them yourself at home, could be both tiring and dangerous. Older people often find themselves in two very familiar situations. One is to cut it yourself at home. If the saw is off by a little, or the measurement is wrong by a little, the piece of wood is considered unusable. Not to mention items like electrical wires or water pipes, which are dangerous to yourself with just a slight misstep. Second, hiring someone else to cut it for you, paying tens to hundreds of dollars for something that shouldn't cost a penny. Many older people are also afraid to ask. They're shy about waiting, don't want to bother the staff, or simply think, oh well, I'll just go home and do it myself. It'll be faster. But I haven't seen any speed yet, just more fatigue, more risk, and more expense. Next time you buy anything that needs cutting at Lowe's, try stopping for a moment and asking, can you cut this for me? Just a short question, but it can help you avoid paying unnecessarily and also avoid unnecessary risks. Right now, I'm going to talk about another warning that many seniors miss. There are discounts that can be completely combined, but if you don't know, you'll always pay full price. Oh, if you find these shares to be exactly what you've experienced, subscribe to the channel to keep following, not to support myself, but to avoid paying for things that should have been free from the start. There's a very common misunderstanding, especially among older people, which is only one type of discount can be applied to each item. Since I saw it was already discounted, I just bought it to get it over with and didn't ask any more questions. But at Lowe's, if you're in a preferred group, you can absolutely get a discount twice. It's just that no one will tell you about it. The easiest example to understand is a gift card. There are many places that sell Lowe's gift cards for less than their actual value. Some weeks it only decreases by a few percent, while other weeks it decreases by as much as 7 to 10%. Think of it this way for easier understanding. You spend $90, but you have $0 in hand to spend at Lowe's. I haven't bought anything yet, but I'm already making a profit. Now it's time for the second reduction class. If you are a veteran or are receiving a military discount, you will receive an additional 10% off the purchase price. And importantly, Lowe's allows you to use gift cards for payment and still apply the military discount as usual. 2 layers down, no conflicts, not blocked. The irony is that older people are often the least likely to take these few steps, partly because I'm not used to buying gift cards online, and partly because I thought, well, that's a good discount already. But Lowe's doesn't prohibit this at all, nor do they say it's not allowed. They just don't take the initiative to say it. Think about it. How many times have you been eligible for additional discounts, but because you didn't know, you paid the full price? Have you ever used a military discount without thinking about buying a gift card first? Right now, I'm going to talk about another very familiar trap, offers that sound very attractive. But when you read them carefully, you realize they're not as good as they seem. If you've ever stood at a Lowe's checkout counter and been asked a very familiar question, would you like to open a Lowe's card to get 20% off today? Then you're not the only one who's ever hesitated. It sounds too tempting, especially for older people. Buy one large item and get an instant 20% discount. Who wouldn't want that? But this is where many people are misled by sweet talk. The truth lies in the small print at the bottom, which few people stand in the middle of the store to read carefully. That 20% discount isn't unlimited. It's capped at a maximum of around 0. meaning if you buy an item for $2,000 or $3,000, the discount will still stop there. It felt like being offered a very sweet candy. But after taking a bite, I realized there was only one. For seniors, this trap is dangerous because you think the Lowe's card is only worth opening for the 20%. But if you only look at that, you'll easily miss the real benefits. Or worse, open a card and use it incorrectly. Actually, the real value of a Lowe's card lies in the things that are less talked about. That's a 5% discount every day on regular purchases. It doesn't sound like much, but if you frequently buy home improvement items or household goods, this 5% adds up to feeling like you get change back every time you go to the market. Additionally, the card offers 6 months of interest-free credit, and for large projects, there may be several years of fixed low interest rates. For older people, these things are sometimes even more important than an initial sharp decline. The issue isn't whether or not to open a card, but rather, don't open a card just for the immediate 20% discount. Think about it. In your previous major shopping trips, did you ever carefully read to see where you were really benefiting? Right now, I'm going to talk about another warning that many people overlook. There are places where Lowe's is willing to sell you the absolute cheapest price on the market. But if you don't ask, they won't tell you. There's a very common habit, especially among older people, if they see something cheaper online. They immediately take out their phone and buy it, without bothering to go back to the store. It sounds reasonable, but this very habit causes many people to voluntarily forgo a benefit that Lowe's already offers: price matching. Few people realize that Lowe's doesn't just price match Home Depot, they also price match with Amazon, Walmart, Best Buy, Wayfair, Target, and a whole host of other major retailers. To put it simply, if you find a lower price elsewhere, Lowe's is willing to match that price for you. The problem is, they don't speak up on their own, and if you don't ask, they just act like nothing happened. A common mistake many seniors make is this: they're standing in Lowe's, see an item, remember it's probably cheaper on Amazon, and decide to go home and order it online. But if you had just opened your phone at that moment and shown the employee that price, you could have bought it right at Lowe's for the same price, plus you would have had the item in hand immediately, with easy returns, and no worries about late shipping or defective goods. To put it in everyday terms, it's easier to see the downside. Buying online might save you a few $dozen, but if there's a problem with the product, you have to repackage it, send it back, and wait for a refund. While shopping at Lowe's, for the same price, there are things that just need to be brought to the customer service counter to be resolved. Less tiring, less confusing, less time-consuming. Things that older people value very highly. Many people say, "I don't like to bargain." But price matching isn't haggling, it's just asking. If the other store is selling at this price, will Lowe's match it? That's all. No need to say much. No need for lengthy explanations. Try to remember, how many times have you bought something online just because it was a little cheaper, even though you could have bought it at Lowe's for the same price? If you've ever encountered that situation, leave a comment to share your experience. Might just help someone else. Right now, I'm going to talk about another warning that's even more painful on the wallet. There are rebates and refunds of up to thousands of dollars. But if you don't check yourself, Lowe's won't remind you. Oh, if you find these things helpful, subscribe to the channel to keep following, not to support yourself, but so that every time you shop, you don't miss out on the rights that already belong to you. There's a very large sum of money that many seniors have unintentionally missed out on. Not because they made the wrong purchase, but because they didn't even know it existed. That's exactly what a rebate is: money refunded after a purchase. And the remarkable thing is, Lowe's almost never proactively reminds you about this. When buying large items like refrigerators, washing machines, dryers, stoves, and ovens, most of us only care about the price on the shelf and immediate discounts. But behind that, there's another layer, more subtle: rebates by zip code. This item is not displayed in the store and is not clearly visible when you are standing and choosing items. If you don't check yourself, it's like nothing happened. This rebate is particularly strong for well-known brands like LG, GE, and many other major appliance lines. At times, the total amount of rebates alone could reach several $1,000s. To put it into perspective, $4,000 is not just a few dozen dollars off when you go to the market. It's equivalent to replacing the entire household machinery, or enough for you to pay a large portion of your annual living expenses. The irony is that many elderly people only learn about rebates after they've made their purchase. That's when I exclaimed, "Oh, why didn't anyone say anything then?" But, in reality, Lowe's wasn't obligated to remind. Rebates exist, but only those who know about them can claim them. Think back, in your previous large equipment purchases, did you ever enter your zip code to see if there were any rebates available? Or, you can buy it, and then? Well, consider it done. Right now, I'm going to talk about the final part. Discounts that no one tells you about. But if you know them, you'll never buy the old way again. Oh, if you find these things really helpful, subscribe to the channel to keep following, not to support myself, but so, next time, I don't leave thousands of dollars behind at the checkout counter. Before I finish, I want to share a place in Lowe's that many people pass by every week but have no idea that money is waiting there for them to pick up. That's the garden center area, specifically the area commonly referred to as the rescue plants. This is where Lowe's puts the slightly less attractive plants, those with wilted leaves, dry soil, or that have just been brought in and haven't been cared for yet. But in return, their price can drop by as much as 70 to 80%. Older people often avoid these areas because they think, buying plants like that is a waste of money if they die. But this is the good part. Lowe's has a very clear return policy. For perennial plants, if the plant doesn't survive within a year, you can bring the receipt back and exchange it or get a refund. For short-term crops, the deadline is 90 days. To be blunt, the risk is almost zero. Many young people see this as a shopping spree, while for the elderly, it's simply smart buying without gambling. You have the time, you have the patience, and Lowe's is standing behind it. Think about it. The last time you went into the plant section at Lowe's, did you notice any corners with deep discount signs? Or maybe you've also overlooked it because you thought, "Oh well, it's probably not good." Everything I just shared isn't meant to say Lowe's is bad, nor is it meant to make you doubt every purchase. But there's a very clear truth. The more you know, the less you pay. While if you don't know, money will still leave your wallet as usual. The elderly don't need to buy the cheapest items, nor do they need to chase after noisy sales. More importantly, don't buy the wrong things due to lack of information. And don't pay for things you shouldn't have to. Just by knowing these few small blind spots, you'll be in a much more advantageous position every time you walk into Lowe's. Now I want to ask you a question. In the recent warnings, what surprised you the most? Have you ever encountered a "wish I had known sooner" situation while shopping at Lowe's or any other store? Share in the comments section. Your story could very well help someone else. If you find this kind of content helpful, please subscribe to the channel to stay updated, not to support myself, but so that next time you don't have to learn these lessons with your own money. The insights shared in the video are based on real-life experiences and current popular policies. Lowe's policies may vary by region or time. Before purchasing, you should double-check the information at your local store or on the official website. Thank you for watching until the end. See you in the next videos.